That big old pearly thing hanging in the sky, the moon, we see it almost every night. You'd think we'd have it all figured out by now, right? But nope, the moon keeps throwing us curveballs. So buckle up, space cadets, because today we're diving headfirst into the top 10 unexplained mysteries of the moon. Picture this, you're kicking back on a beach, soaking up the sun. Life is good, right? But here's the thing about the sun. It's not just some giant space heater, it's a raging inferno, constantly blasting out radiation. Luckily for us Earthlings, we've got a magnetic field and an ozone layer acting like cosmic sunscreen. The moon, well, not so much. Turns out the moon takes a real beating from the sun. Imagine getting sandblasted by a superheated solar wind 24/7. And during solar storms, forget about it. It's like the surface of the sun explodes all over the moon. Recent studies have shown that even those shadowy craters we thought were safe, yeah, not so much. The sun's energy can actually electrify the soil down there. We're talking electrostatic discharges, folks, like mini lightning storms erupting from the ground. This could mean the moon's surface is eroding faster than we thought, especially at the poles where there might be water ice. And for future moon bases, yeah, we're gonna have to figure out how to deal with these electric shocks. Talk about a power surge. Remember those Apollo missions? The ones where we brought back boxes full of moon rocks? Well, those rocks have been causing quite a stir in the scientific community. Some of them, they're like little magnets, suggesting they formed under a magnetic field as strong as Earth's. But here's the kicker. The moon shouldn't have been able to generate a magnetic field that strong, at least not according to our current understanding. Some scientists think that maybe, just maybe, metals in the moon's core acted all funky and created these magnetic bursts. But that's just a theory, and it doesn't fully explain why some moon rocks seem totally unaffected by any magnetic field. Now let's talk about these things called lunar swirls. Imagine looking at the moon through a telescope, and you see these bright swirly patterns, like someone took a giant paintbrush and went to town on the surface. Scientists are still trying to figure out what causes them, but one theory is that they're connected to those magnetic anomalies we were just talking about. It's like the moon's magnetic field is playing connect the dots, creating these intricate patterns on the surface. Some folks think the solar wind might be involved, but honestly we're still in the dark on this one. The lunar swirls are like those optical illusions that mess with your brain. We know they're there, but we can't quite figure out how they work. What lies in the lunar lava caves? Remember those lava tubes, those underground tunnels formed by ancient volcanic activity? Yeah, well, the moon's got them and they're huge. We're talking caves so massive you could fit entire cities down there. These lava tubes, they're not just cool geological formations, they could be the key to establishing a permanent human presence on the moon. Think about it, they provide natural shelter from the sun's radiation, they're relatively stable temperature-wise, and they could even contain resources like water ice. Since these lava tubes have been sealed off for billions of years, they could be hiding all sorts of secrets. The possibilities are endless, and that's what makes these lunar lava caves so tantalizing. The volcanic atmosphere. You know how the moon has like zero atmosphere? Well, it turns out that might not always have been the case. Way back when, the moon was a volcanic hotspot, spewing out gases like it was going out of style. And some scientists believe that all that gas might have actually formed a temporary atmosphere. This ancient atmosphere, it didn't last forever, but it could have left behind traces of itself, trapped in those super cold, permanently shadowed craters at the poles. And if we're lucky, those traces might include things like water and other volatiles, which would be a game changer for future lunar colonists. Imagine that, setting up camp on the moon and tapping into ancient air. The lunar clouds. You ever look up at the moon and feel like something's just off? Like, it's not just you, right? Well, you might be onto something. Turns out the moon's not as static as it seems. Over the years, there have been all sorts of strange sightings reported, weird lights, glowing patches, even clouds. Some scientists think that these transient phenomena could be caused by outgassing from the moon's interior, like little volcanic burps releasing gas and dust into the, well, not quite an atmosphere. It's a long shot, but hey, stranger things have happened. Maybe the moon's just trying to get our attention, you know, like, hey, down here, I'm not just a big boring rock. Alright, this one sounds like something straight out of a comic book, but bear with me. For the longest time, we thought the moon's volcanic days were long gone, over and done with. But then we started finding evidence that suggested otherwise. Volcanic features that looked surprisingly young, like way younger than they should be. Some scientists propose a radical theory that the moon might still be volcanically active, but not in the way we're used to. We're talking about nuclear volcanoes powered by the decay of radioactive elements deep within the moon's interior. The idea that the moon might still have some fire in its belly, billions of years after it formed, is pretty mind-blowing. Okay, picture this. You're on a giant cosmic scale weighing the moon, you've got your trusty cosmic scale and you're expecting a certain reading. But then bam, the needle jumps, way more mass than there should be. That's essentially what happened when we started studying the moon's gravity. Turns out there's a massive anomaly hidden beneath the South Pole Aitken Basin, one of the largest impact craters in the solar system. We're talking about an extra 2.4 quadrillion tons of something dense and heavy, lurking deep beneath the surface. Whatever it is, this buried mass is a tantalizing mystery, and it's got scientists buzzing with excitement. Alright, this next mystery is all about those weird things that happen at the terminator, the line that separates day and night on the moon. At the terminator, the temperature changes drastically, and that can lead to some strange electrical effects. Scientists believe that the sun's ultraviolet radiation is ionizing the lunar soil, creating these electric fields that can lift dust particles off the ground. These dust particles, they're not just floating around aimlessly, they're forming these massive moving dust fronts that can stretch for miles. It's like the moon's putting on a light show, but instead of lasers, it's using electrically charged dust. And finally, we come to the granddaddy of all lunar mysteries, the lunar transient lights. These are those fleeting flashes, glows, and even explosions of light that have been reported on the moon for centuries. There have been countless theories put forward to explain these lights, outgassing, meteoroid impacts even, dare I say it, alien activity. But the truth is, we just don't know for sure. These lunar transient lights, they're like those unexplained events that make you question everything you thought you knew. So there you have it, folks. 10 of the most baffling mysteries the moon has thrown our way. From magnetic rocks to nuclear volcanoes, from levitating dust to those enigmatic transient lights, the moon continues to surprise and amaze us. If the moon, our closest celestial neighbor, can hold such secrets, imagine what wonders await us on the moons of Jupiter, Saturn, and beyond.